Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and I am really glad to have my girlfriend here, my friend, my pal, and may I say, my chef, Marcelina. How you doing, Marcy?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. For those of you who haven't seen our girlfriend shows, Marcelina is one of my girlfriends that have been on the Sybil in Bed with Friends shows, as well as a most recent show that we did with some of our girlfriends. And Marcelina is one of the funniest, most talented people I know, and talent in a number of different ways.
Look
Um,
it up.
because you are funny, you are amazingly talented as a singer. You
Oh Lord.
and let us not forget your talents as a chef.
Oh my God. Who is
Uh,
this person?
it's you.
You can't be talking about me.
It's you. It's you.
Oh my.
Marcelina, just to give people a little bit of background, who are you? Where are you people from?
I'm from here. I wasn't born. I
That
was
would be
born.
Texas. That would be
That's
Dallas, Texas.
Texas. I wasn't born in Texas. I was born in New York, but I'm from Texas.
What
My
is it about
people
you
from
people?
Louisiana,
Uh-huh.
and that's me in a nutshell. I went to Grambling State University. Go Tigers.
Hmm.
And I'm a single mid-40s female, and I just like to have fun.
And right now you are an entrepreneur. You're an independent businesswoman.
Yeah, I'm out there. Yes.
And well, let's tell them what your business is.
My business is Pretty Tasty Cakes and Pastries, and it's home of the crack cookie. That's basically our specialty item, and it's a butter pecan crack cookie, and it's amazing.
It is amazing. But as I was saying before we got on the air, you also are a chef of many talents, not the least of which is I absolutely love your spaghetti. So
Yes. You have
I,
coined them skitties.
I
So
called them sketties, and Marcy sketties is what I like to call them. And I'm gonna need some of those soon.
I got
Just saying. Okay,
you. I got
okay,
you.
okay. So Marcelina, we're gonna talk about the events of the day and things like that, and how they apply to you, your thoughts on all of these things. And so we encourage people to join us in the conversation. One thing that I will tell you is that um, we have a very special guest who has a relationship to the events that happened in Tulsa this week. And so we will talk to Dr. Angela Mosby and and talk to her about what happened in the shooting of the doctor, as well as that whole situation there in the medical facility. Another tragedy. And as I've noted in our newsletter and in other conversations, this is the 233rd mass shooting to take place in the United States this year. Um, in 5 months, 233rd mass shootings. And so um, it's a tragedy, but and news is my business, Marcelina. And I don't know about you, but it's hard. It's beginning to be harder and harder, more and more difficult to watch the news, let alone to talk about it. How about you?
Oh, absolutely. Like I know in the past few weeks, like I think after the Buffalo shoot, I didn't watch news for at least a week or two. Like
Hmm.
I check in so that I can be up to date, but it's so draining
Yeah.
that you just don't want to watch it. We just had the Uvalde shooting last week, and then this one came up. I was like, I can't. I had to tap out for a minute. I
Yeah.
followed up on it to see what it was about, but I just like you can't take that in every single day.
Yeah, it's difficult, and you do have to check out. And I'll tell you that just talking to my friends who are comedians and thanking them for making me laugh over the last few weeks,
Yeah,
because it has taken that that kind of lift from the professionals to to watch their concerts and stand up and all of
right.
those kind of things in order to keep going, and at least to close out my night. Because then even though I have difficulty sleeping, it was very difficult when you have all of this heaviness just in your
Yeah,
head
you have
and
to
on your
find another
heart.
outlet. You
Yeah,
have to.
yeah. All right, so let us take a look at Marcelina first, starting out at our What You Need to Know newsletter. For those who don't know, this is our free newsletter, absolutely free. Please go to sybilwilkes.com to subscribe. We would love to have you as a member of the What You Need to Know news crew, as I like to call it. And we super serve the African American community with our stories and an effort to do this with a small staff of people, but they work very hard and to make things happen every Monday through Friday. So if you go to sybilwilkes.com and just give us your name and your email address, we'll have it in your email box every Monday through Friday morning. Starting out, Marcelina, as a result of the shootings that we've been talking about, members of the U.S. House and the Senate are taking aim at gun reform. There are conversations going on among a small group of bipartisan senators headed by Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut. And it's a bipartisan group. So he's a Democrat and he's working with Democrats and Republicans in order to make some sort of progress in terms of amending the ridiculously lax gun laws we have in this country. And that's a personal expression on my part. That's, obviously.
Yes.
But I don't begrudge people for having guns because it's in the Constitution.
Mhm.
But I do object to the automatic assault rifles. I object to having the ability of an 18-year-old boy go out and be able to buy these guns as a present to himself and then use those weapons to go and kill innocent people, whether it's a racial murder or one in which you just see the slaughter of babies
Right.
and from babies to grandparents, right? It just doesn't make any sense.
At
And
all.
so, as a part of this, as I mentioned, Senator Chris Murphy meeting to discuss the issues surrounding guns, and he's meeting with John Cornyn, who is a Republican leader from the state of Texas, and he was encouraged to be a part of this discussion by Mitch McConnell, who really doesn't want to have anything to do with gun reform. As a matter of fact, the Republicans are all they're talking about, Marcelina, is mental health and securing the schools. That's where they stand on this.
You have to get rid of the gun first. I mean, your mental health, and even with the gun laws, like I think it's 18 now. In Texas, it's ridiculous. You can
Oh, it's it's
get
it's
one.
uh as my grandmother used to say, it's the OK Corral out there.
Right. Everybody got a gun. Anybody can get it. It's
Hmm.
so here, like 18, I think it's crazy to be able to get it. That does go along with the mental health. You're not in the right state of mind at 18. Even if they were to up it to 21, I still think that's way too low.
Yeah.
Like maybe 25, because you got a better grasp on yourself, better grasp on your mentality, better grasp on a lot of things, as opposed to just mental health and the school safety. And they didn't keep the school safe either. So I mean, you got a lot of work to do.
So here's the other thing, Marceline, you've been in the schools.
Yeah, I did.
You worked as a teacher, right?
I
And
did.
so, what did this do to you when you heard this story about Uvalde and the massacre of students and teachers at this school?
I I couldn't imagine. I just couldn't imagine. I mean, we've been in situations where they had to lock down or different stuff like that, and just like it was something totally different. It was a tornado. The fear of the children in a
Mm,
tornado and locking down the classroom. I could only imagine how can you keep a classroom calm of
right,
students when you
right.
hear gunshots nearby. I watched a video of a little girl. They called her an expert. She was 12. And she came into a classroom to teach people how to survive like a classroom shooting. And I was boohoo crying
Yeah,
because she's like, you really have to be quiet. They had a song made of like a nursery rhyme of things to do
right.
so that they would stay safe.
Yep.
I don't know what I would have done if I was in that same situation, but
Marcelina, one little girl had the presence of mind who was in that room to play dead, to wipe blood from her friend onto her body.
Ugh. It's
It's
heartbreaking.
yeah, yeah, it really is.
It's heartbreaking to even
Um
have to, at that young age, to have to think that fast to do something like that to save your own life. It's crazy.
and to say that, there should be one way in and one way out for students, and that's going to be the way that you secure the school.
That's
And
no
that-
way
and
to secure a school.
and
Absolutely.
that's our
That's
senator Ted
chaos right
Cruz.
there. That's chaos.
That's yeah, that's idiocy.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned, but we'll see what happens. It's just I hope that this year is going to make a difference in the midterms. And as I mentioned in the What You Need to Know newsletter, because Republicans are at a 50-50 split in the Senate, as we know, and you can't get past this 60 vote filibuster in a 50-50 Senate, especially with Republicans that are the party of no when it comes to anything the Democrats and Joe Biden is trying to accomplish. And so, once again, I ask people, are you registered to vote? Are you registered? Are you willing to vote and make a difference? Because if not, 233 mass shootings is going to quadruple, quintuple, whatever it is by the end of this year without any sort of gun reform. And we aren't going to get it on the national level. And we certainly aren't going to get it in a lot of our states, including the state of Texas, when you have the Republican leadership that you have.
We have to do our part. We have to definitely go out and vote. We definitely do.
Yep, absolutely. Here is a story that this is even, I'm sorry, Marcelina, this is even more depressing for Black folks. There's a new poll that shows that how fearful we are as Black people against what is happening, and how white people that we view as white supremacists, and what they can do to us. So here is a Washington Post Ipsos poll found 75% of Black Americans are worried that they or someone they care about will be physically harmed because we're Black. This is a development that comes, of course, this was following the Buffalo shooting at the supermarket where 10 Black people were killed. And 70% of Black Americans polled said they believed half of white Americans hold white supremacist beliefs, compared to 19% or fewer who believe that half of white Americans have this thought, this belief of white supremacy. Are you fearful?
I try not to live in fear because if something's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. I can't say that now when I go in the grocery store, I'm not more aware. It's like,
Yeah.
as a normal human being, you walk in, you're focused. I'm focused on what I'm getting, what I'm gonna do. I'm not paying a lot of attention to a lot of people. So it just makes you be more aware of your surroundings, what's going on. I guarantee you, if I see anybody walking in all Black, just no, listen, I'm gonna have 3-4 canned goods ready in my arsenal or something. But it's definitely makes you open your eyes to everything that's going on around you, because they could be anywhere. The grocery store, like you can't go and shop. It's not enough the prices are high as hell, but now
right. That's killing us.
I can barely eat, but then you want to shoot me when I get my little piece of chicken? Come on.
Right. And as a businesswoman, you certainly are feeling the impact of,
my goodness,
our inflationary prices, no doubt. But Marcelina, back to you being in the classroom. Had anyone ever suggested about weapons training for you all?
Not when I was teaching. There wasn't a thing for us to have weapons in the classroom. Now, but that's still even a hazard. Those little kids nosy. They will go in your drawers and your purse and everything else. So that's another hazard too. You have to have it secure. Can you get to it if something was to happen? Because you have to secure it to keep them safe. It's a lot of stuff that goes into everything. There's so many precautions that you have to take. But should they be strapped? Absolutely. But it's going to require a lot of restraint and a
Hmm.
lot of precaution. And if they were to be strapped,
And fearful, perhaps you have some white coworkers you think may be, having some sort of feelings of hatred towards you, to get back to the poll. I mean, all of these things you got to figure, protecting yourself. Who is this person that I'm coming up against? As I wear my Black Voters Matter T-shirt, and people give me a look as I'm wearing my mask, Black Voters Matter T-shirt, and then so are they looking at me like, oh yeah, power to you, or we don't like that, and we're gonna
right.
do something about you.
I just wish we could go back to the days. What is what's the Friday quote where we could just fight to see another day? Like,
Yeah,
use your hands,
yeah,
use your words.
yeah.
It's so much more we could do than just shoot each other down. It's just so crazy. I can't believe that that's the last resort to everything that you have going on, or being bullied and everything else. That's the one thing. Also, I don't know. I haven't heard anybody else say that pissed me off about the Uvalde shooting, where you said the things that happened to you were because you were bullied, but you went to an elementary school. You didn't go to
Right.
the same
You didn't
school
go
where
back to
people.
the school
You
where
didn't go
they
to the
bullied
school
you.
where they bullied you, because
Yeah,
they would have beat you up probably, or it would have been right on. So you picked off little kids that had nothing to do with your situation.
that's the ultimate in bullying.
That was like you became the bully. Like
Yeah,
that's so that burned me up. Like
yeah.
I was so that just took me out.
And I don't know whether to believe the kids at the high school where he went who said he was not bullied at all. He was strange, but they said they didn't bully him. Now, kids will deny that. Oh no, no,
Absolutely.
no, we didn't have that. But
Especially
whether
when you
he,
see what happened. Of course I'm
yeah,
gonna say, no, I didn't bully him. Yeah.
right, right. But kids who said he was strange, and he started making these strange transitions in his appearance and his wardrobe, and the way and things that he would say. But it was it's just beyond, and Marcelina, there's so much there. I hate to bring this up, but there's more for us to beware of, Marcelina,
Mhm. Yeah.
on our streets. So here's a story that our Coy Malone presented, and said that the police in the Massachusetts area are looking for a man who has purposely damaged women's cars in order to take advantage and to
Mm.
do damage to them. Okay, to do physical, to some sort of physical attack. He has been vandalizing women's vehicles, then offering to help them when they're left stranded. And they've been unaware that the man offering the help actually caused the damage. So he damages the car. He waits around for them to find, like a flat tire or
Flat
whatever.
tire or
Waits for them
something.
to, yeah, waits for them to, like, oh, what am I going to do? And he's to the rescue. And he is a man who then, one guy, this one guy poured juice into a woman's gas tank at a store, and then he tried to take advantage of the woman, and in some cases, so it's absolutely frightening. It's absolutely frightening.
Who
But
has
that's something else. Take looking around. I even have like my car has an automatic sign that comes up warning saying, look at your surroundings, check your surroundings before you get out of the car.
mm,
So,
what kind of
and I
car
don't
you
pay
got?
attention to it, but I do sit in the car for a second and just kind of, and now I do kind of look around,
And I have a
and
bad habit of just sitting in the car. Like
yeah,
I
yeah,
decompress in the car
yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
before I
And I
go in
don't
the
even have
store.
anybody to come into the house to. It's
Me
just because I
either.
just with you. I don't know why. I just do.
I
So,
do it. Every place I stop, I have to stop there. My friends get on me a lot about that, so I try now to immediately get out the car, get where I'm going, and come
but
back home.
take a
Yeah.
second and just take a look at what's going on around you too, or even look at your car as you're getting back into it. You won't know if somebody put something in your gas tank, of course, but the flat tire and that kind of thing. Be careful. The last thing, and this is very quickly, I just want to mention, check out a great piece that was written and contributed by our friend Pat Bailey. She is a caregiver coach and talks about the link between mental health and Alzheimer's disease. This is National Alzheimer's Awareness and Brain Health Awareness Month, and so please take a look at that. All right. Okay. As promised, it's now time for us to move on to the what's really going on section. And as I mentioned, we have a very special guest. And so before I bring her on, I just want to just kind of set the scene here. I mentioned this earlier. In our what's really going on section, we're going to find out about what is going on in the city of Tulsa, Oklahoma. The 233rd American mass murder of the year took place in Tulsa, Oklahoma, with the shooting deaths of 4 people in a medical office. The gunman has been identified as Michael Lewis. Authority, and by the way, yes, he is. No, seriously, he is. He a black man. The authorities have stated that the black man killed another black man, Dr. Preston Phillips. The orthopedic surgeon performed a back surgery on the shooter on May 19th. A letter found on the shooter's body, who killed himself as he came to the end of his shooting rampage. A letter stated that he intended to kill Dr. Phillips and anyone who got in his way. So in addition to Dr. Preston Phillips, the Tulsa Police Department identified the 3 other victims as Dr. Stephanie Houston, Amanda Glenn, and William Love. Dr. Houston was a fellow orthopedic surgeon. Amanda Glenn was the receptionist in the office, and William Love was a patient. He was said to be angry over the pain that he was experiencing following his surgery. So Yolanda, if we have Dr. Angela Mosby, can we bring her up? Dr. Mosby, thank you so much for joining us. I'm sorry under these circumstances.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Really, I'm so sorry for your loss. I know that you formerly worked in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and you knew Dr. Preston Phillips.
Yes, I did.
First of all, can you tell us, he just seems like such an incredible man. All of the things that he did. I just saw that he's a former physician for the WNBA team. He had a love for doing people outside of his community as well, even with a project in Africa, and also a great mentorship. Can you tell us anything more that you'd like to add about Dr. Phillips?
I mean, he was just, again, thank you for having me here. I think this is so important to discuss, and I appreciate you guys for even, talking about this and bringing this to the forefront today, because like you said, it's 233rd. We've had 233 this year alone. So Dr. Phillips, I mean, what can I say? What an incredible person. I don't say that because he's deceased. I would say that if he was standing in this room. He's a compassionate person. I met him years ago when we were both in practice together, in like not in the same building, but in the same medical group. I was also part of Warren Clinic. And I was there, and then he came and joined, and I was so excited because there was only 2 of us in the entire practice at that time, myself and a gynecologist. And so we were just so excited to have another African American in our group, and we had a very large group of over 100 physicians. Wow. So that was saying a lot to be able to have some representation. And not only did he come in, it had, African American or not, he was absolutely an excellent orthopedic surgeon, an excellent doctor, and a fantastic person. He and his entire family, a great family, beautiful wife. And so, it's still surreal to me to talk about him in past tense. So I may nod it sometimes because the first thing I thought of, and I'm now in LA, the first thing I thought of when I saw it on the news is I hope it's not Preston. First thing I said it out loud several times to my husband, and only because I knew where his office was, and I know that building very well. And I was thinking maybe he transferred, maybe he's working in a different building now, maybe he retired. I'm just thinking about all these things of the maybes. And then I got a call from one of our colleagues last night who wanted me to know before I heard it on the news. So he great person. I mean, what do you, he's,
Right.
everything you read about him is real, but I mean, just in person, he's pleasant. He's just, and I think, like I said, he and his wife are just lovely in general. They're just great people. And
Mm-hmm.
he was about, to me, the heart of medicine. And that's
Mm.
what matters. We don't see that a lot anymore. You know, he was just in it for the heart of medicine, still had the love of medicine, even though so many people are burning out. And I think, and I'm just, you know, just, I'm still in shock.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm still in shock because what a significant loss, not only to the African American community, to the orthopedic community, to the medical community, and to society as a whole. What a significant loss. And I just don't have words. And then to learn that it was done by another African American, I just
And
don't have words.
and Dr. Mosby, I don't know if this is true, but some of the reports indicate that Michael Lewis, the man who is alleged to be the shooter and the killer of these four people, he was married to a doctor.
Oh, that part I didn't know. So that's new.
Yeah.
That would be, wow. I didn't know that. I haven't heard that. So if
So
that's the case, that's
he had
even
back surgery on the 19th of May and was
mhm,
released from the hospital on the 24th and had a significant amount of pain according to the reports. And he was calling and he was going in, and his last reported visit with the doctor was the day before the shooting.
right, right.
So and so tell me this as a doctor, because Marcelina and I have these conversations about, bedside manner and the way your doctor treats you and everything,
Mhm.
but he didn't appear to be a man who just kind of shunted him off and said, oh, it's all in your head, or whatever it is. It doesn't seem to be the case.
Well, to show that it's not the case, I mean, he addressed him repeatedly since the surgery, even
Hmm.
according to the reports. He saw him, he treated the pain. He looked like he treated him just yesterday or the day before. So he
Hmm.
was still taking care of the patient. So, whatever misconstrued ideas this patient had about what he thought, Dr. Phillips is not that kind of doctor. He is truly a compassionate doctor. And I mean, like I said, this is when I was there, I referred so many patients to him. So, this is not just me saying this because I knew him. This is on the reports that he said. This is on the phone calls that we've had. This is based on patients, giving us correspondence and telling us, oh my God, thank you for that referral. He was fantastic, very hands-on and saw things through. So that speaks volumes that this patient was making those demands and he was still treating him. So
Hmm.
evidently, he probably, I'm sure this patient at some point became irate, even in their conversation, but he continued to treat him. He didn't say, I'm not. He was in his office just the day before. So
Yeah.
that tells you that he was still trying to make things right. And so there's a lot of theories as far as patients and excessive pain and psychosis and all
Hmm.
types of theories and thoughts.
That's
And
what I
I
was
just
about
don't think,
to ask. Yeah.
yeah,
So
you
go
know,
ahead, Marcelina. Can you jump in with what
I
you're
was I
asking?
was thinking since he was in such extensive pain, maybe it was the drugs that he was taking that might have caused a shift or some kind of psychosis to make him do something like that.
well, and that is a thought. I mean, but the thing that to me says that may, I thought that initially too. I said maybe the pain just made him just psychotic, but he had time to plan. In a state of psychosis, it is rare
Right.
that you have a methodical plan that makes sense that you can carry through because nothing is really rational at that time. Nothing is rational as far as, you're thinking you want to do something, but you don't even have it's just hard to be rational
Hmm.
to have such a methodical plan to leave a letter, to discuss it
Right.
with someone, to write it, put it in writing, to buy a gun 4 days ago or 5 days ago, and then to buy a AR-15 to carry out the plan, and then to
Two
make the
hours
statement, I'm
before
going
two
to
that.
hours
two
before.
hours before. And I'm not sure if you guys in Oklahoma, Muskogee is about an hour away, 45 minutes away from this clinic. So you think about the driving time. He bought it and
Hmm.
just had enough time to get there, and execute. So it wasn't that he bought this a day or two before. He bought it with a mission. And he
Hmm.
carried out the mission. He stated
Right.
it, he wrote it down, he told others. And to say that I'm going to shoot anyone who gets in my way, that's exactly what he did.
What do
So
you?
it doesn't sound like psychosis. It sounds like someone who, unfortunately, we deal, and boy, on a daily basis now, with so many demands. Everything is immediate. I need everything fixed right now. I hear it every single day. And I think this is a case of I don't want to be in pain. Well, there is no back surgery or basically any
Any
surgery
surgery.
without pain.
Yeah.
The medicines are not magic. We do the best we can. We try to manage it. Every person needs something different. So, I think this was someone who was just not willing to take no for an answer. And I don't know the conversation, but it
Mhm.
sounds like it was someone who wanted more and wanted more than what was, that Dr. Preston felt necessary. We
Mhm.
do have to use our judgment. Patients seem to were making judgments about them and kind of trying to withhold medications. We don't do that. We're trying to do the best we can, but we have to go in a stepwise fashion. And so it sounds like he just, I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't there, but it just sounds like this was carried out so well and executed just too well to me to be a psychotic break.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And
Dr.
it sounds like he was thinking about it even before.
I just want to bring people up to speed that may just be joining us. We are Marcelina and I are very lucky to have with us today Dr. Angela Mosby, and this was just God driven how we were able to connect with you on this. And Dr. Mosby is a former colleague of Dr. Preston Phillips, the orthopedic surgeon who was killed in Tulsa, Oklahoma, by the gunman Michael Lewis. Dr. Phillips had performed back surgery on Michael Lewis just weeks ago. And then the man was undergoing, or he said that he was in so much pain, and that's why he intended to kill Dr. Phillips, as well as those, as you said, Dr. Mosby, anyone who gets in our way. So that's just to give an idea. And talking about just, it seemed like an incredible doctor, an incredible human being.
Incredible. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Passion projects. I mean, he just went beyond the scope of just, coming in an 8 to 5. He lived it. I mean, and that's always our goal. It's just to not only be a doctor, but to just be in the spirit of medicine and to be in the
Hmm.
spirit of loving humankind and just taking care of, patients as much as we can with all the love that we have. And so
You
we don't
sound like
do
a
that
kind
as
of doctor we want, Dr. Mosby, too. I don't know what
well.
your area, what your specialty is. You're in Los Angeles now. What
I
what what
am. It's,
what area do you
and
work in?
so I now work I'm an urgent care physician. I'm actually the lead urgent care here, physician here. But I was in family practice for 15 years, which is when I was working with Dr. Phillips, and I was
Mm.
referring to him at that time. But I was in primary care for about 15 years, and then in the last about 7 years, I've done ER and urgent care.
Can we call upon you
So,
because we have a project that we are a part of in our partnership with the American Heart Association? I'm just going to throw it out there, but we'd love to
okay.
call upon you at some point because we have our special programs called Check In and Check Up for Your Health.
Absolutely,
We would.
absolutely. I think, and I know about that program, and I thank you because this is the message that we've been trying to give. So many people avoided care during COVID. So by the time we see them, they're, things are progressed, or they have advanced disease, or they have things that now we have to add two medications as opposed to one. So I appreciate you guys for creating that because you're getting the message out to get patients in to be seen and to do their preventative care because that is so crucial. But absolutely.
Doctor, Marcelina and I were talking earlier about the fact that you you can't go into your church, you can't go into the supermarket, you can't go into people who go to their synagogues. Now in your doctor's offices, um,
Right.
was this ever a concern for you before this happened? Were you fearful of being in your medical environment and having to face something like this?
I love to say no, but the truth of the matter is, I don't think, especially if you're in certain situations like ER and urgent care or even primary care, we run into this a lot. We run into this more often than not, even with a lot of times with mental health issues, where sometimes they are experiencing psychosis and you have a hard time, they have a hard time, kind of balancing the lines of reality. I have had a situation similar, not to the point, of course, of this, but I had one situation that I can recall years ago where we had to lock down our office because, ironically, pain medicine again. The patient
Mm,
wanted something for pain. It wasn't my patient. I was doing call coverage for one of my colleagues, and the patient evidently had been getting Valium and some other drugs, and it's just not something that I do in my routine practice for
sure.
these reasons. And so in call coverage, he wanted me to write it. And I was, I told him I could give him a few, but he was not happy. He said, you have the power to write 180 tablets, or whatever the case may be. And I thought I would never do that on any day, not even
Hmm.
with my own patients. And he literally threatened our entire office. We had to close our practice. We had patients in the office who had to bring to the back. It went on. He basically terrorized everyone in the waiting room. So we had to do, this was years ago before we really used the term lockdown, but we had to do a lockdown. And then afterwards, I think about a day or two later, one of my administrators called and said, we just wanted you to know he works for the cable company. He knows where you live.
Mm.
So,
Oh, wow.
just be on guard. And so for weeks, I was told, my husband took me to work and picked me up. And it was just the security had to escort me. And it was a terrible feeling. You just don't want to
Dr.
show up.
Mosby, I'm afraid we were running out of time. The
That's
clock
okay.
is not our friend. But I want to
Okay.
thank you so much. And please, 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 I hope that you will come back and talk to us again, talking about
Absolutely.
the horrific Tulsa massacre, the shooting of 4 people. And Dr. Mosby's former colleague and friend, Dr. Preston Phillips, was one of those. Thank you so much, Doctor. And we will be in touch with you again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
God bless you. Okay. So now let's move on to topical news, Marcelina. And these are things that are going on as we speak, especially as the president is on right now addressing the nation on the issue of guns. And this, of course, follows the latest mass murder Wednesday in Tulsa. This follows the mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas, a week before that. And then 10 days before that, the massive shooting of 10 Black people in Buffalo, New York, grocery store. The president is delivering the speech on gun violence as we speak. And so the one thing that I, starting getting news reports about what he's saying in the speech and addressing the nation about the recent deadly mass shootings, and delivers remarks urging Congress to act on the epidemic of gun violence, and saying that something has to be done. And the vice president has done this as well. She got to the point. She said, "Your thoughts, your prayers, and your condolences. That's fine, but let's move on from that. And what do we do instead?" And as we mentioned, the Senate bipartisan committee has met in a smaller group and then a larger group, but also the House, under the direction of Nancy Pelosi and the House Judiciary Committee, talking about their suggestions for gun reform, including raising the age of gun ownership, looking at those red flag laws, people who, when they apply for gun ownership, the red flags that go up, and background checks and things like that. Also talking about bump stocks. Marcelina, I didn't know anything about bump stocks until the mass shooting in Las Vegas, as the people were there in the concert. Remember that a few years ago? And
Yeah.
this man had an automatic bump stock, and which made his weapon into an automatic rifle. And so, to curb that,
Those
and
additions that you can add to them. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So as I said, the president, God bless him. I don't know what more, and you like, Lord, what today? And it's always something in this administration coming through COVID, and then, the 200, the record breaking number of mass shootings and inflation and all of this. But he is
Now,
taking it.
yeah. Now we got monkeypox. What else can Joe take?
Well, hopefully he doesn't have to come up to that as a real issue for himself personally, but certainly even the empty store shelves with baby formula,
Right.
but I say he's doing the best he can, and I hope that we get some people in office that can help him, and especially in the United States Senate, that we can get past the 60 vote filibuster that can make some changes. All right, so we've been talking about the Buffalo mass shooter. He was in court today. This 18-year-old suspect, Peyton Gendron is his name. He was in court and pleaded not guilty
I
to
couldn't
the
believe that.
to the
Not
25
guilty.
count indictment against him. He was dressed in, of course, the prison orange jumpsuit, shackled at his hands and feet, asked by the judge if he understood the charges against him. He nodded and said, "Yes, ma'am." The judge agreed with the prosecutor to keep him in custody until his next court date, and that is another month, July 7th. He's been charged with 10 counts of first-degree murder, 10 counts of second-degree murder as a hate crime, and 3 counts of attempted murder as a hate crime, according to this indictment that was made available today.
How do you how do you say you're not guilty? How?
Yeah. So I don't know how they will defend this. Will they say it was insanity? But there's just too much there and too much planning that went into this,
Again,
Marcelina.
yeah,
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
too much planning.
Yeah. Yeah. And we did a story in the newsletter the other day about the fact that he was in a chat room with fellow white supremacists, and was telling them he was on his way to do this. 30 minutes before the massacre took place at the Buffalo, New York supermarket, he was in a chat room telling them what he was about to do. And now they're investigating whether one of these members of the chat room was a former federal agent based out of Texas. Did they know, and if they did know, why didn't anyone do anything and call ahead and make sure?
We will never know.
We'll never know.
And if you're a white supremacist, even if you're a federal agent, why would you tell it?
Right. Yeah. And
it aids in your agenda.
Okay. Because it's just like, but once again, Marcelina, we're looking at people and going, can we trust you?
I can't take no more. Where else can we go? Is there somewhere else we could go? But I'm not ready to leave yet. But
right. Is there another part of the world?
Yeah.
Well, certainly we could go to Canada, because even we're connected, but still a separate country.
They don't want us there.
Well, they may not want us, but at least their gun reform laws make much more sense than they do just to the south of them.
I just need a safe space.
Oh God.
I just need a safe space.
Yeah. Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice if you could? And once you do, don't tell too many people.
Don't follow me.
Okay. I can't tell you where I am, but I'm in a safe space. Just know I'm okay. And
right. I'll be back.
And then hang up right quick.
Yeah.
This is Kim Kardashian being at her best. She has
Lord.
Wow. Because she's doing some good, I think.
Okay. I'm gonna listen.
Okay. So she has advocated for a lot of people to have their cases dismissed or to be pardoned and all of that. So now she's using her voice with the Bureau of Prisons, asking that the father of one of the Uvalde victims, one of the children who was killed, asking for her father to be released temporarily so that he can attend his child's funeral. She posted a photo of Ileana Cruz Torres with the message, her family is desperately hoping that her father, who is incarcerated for a non-violent drug offense, be granted temporary release so he can attend her funeral. So far, requests that have been made on her father's behalf have been denied. And she said, I asked the Federal Bureau of Prisons to grant Eli Torres temporary release so he can say his last goodbye to his baby girl. Every parent deserves that right. And Mr. Torres, locked up in Kentucky, serving a 25-year sentence for drug trafficking, and has been given the option of watching a live stream of the service, but asked that he be able to attend in person, according to the Houston Chronicle.
Okay, Kim, I can go with that one. I'm sorry, Kim.
I agree with you. I think that is worth giving her. I don't know what we give her. Do we give her 5 spanks up or whatever? I don't know what we give her. But add a girl. And job well done in making this request, using her celebrity for good.
Yeah, she does it sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
We'll let Pete give her the accolades.
Yeah, don't let Kanye do it, but
No,
Pete's.
no. Okay.
Marcelina, are you concerned about the fact that we still don't have a vaccine? We may be on our way, but we still don't have a vaccine for the babies 6 months to 4 years of age for the COVID. Does it bother you?
No,
Okay, so
because I'm
I,
I'm
I
not.
okay, so I ask you this because I know your feelings about the vaccination, and if you want to share.
Sure, I'll say I don't think it's necessary,
Okay,
and I
so
would definitely not want to give it to the children. Absolutely not.
well, the Biden administration disagrees with you.
I know.
And
I saw it.
yeah, they said that children under 5 may be able to get their first COVID-19 vaccination as soon as June 21st if federal regulators authorize shots for that age group. And so they're planning for the last remaining ineligible age group, that is 6 months to 4, and or just up to 5 years old, and 5 and above have gotten their shots, all those that want to. The Food and Drug Administration's advisors will meet June 14th and 15th to evaluate the Pfizer and Moderna shots for the younger children. So I'm curious as to how other people feel about this, and I'm always asking parents and grandparents of the youngsters how you feel about this. And many of them, there's some who don't believe the necessity of vaccines, and others say that they think that they'll be able to travel and do more things with their children if they are able to get vaccinated. So we'll see what happens. I will say that I'm vaccinated. I don't have
The booster.
no, I haven't been boosted yet. The window is still not open for me to get the booster, so I will do that though. I plan
I'm
on doing
I'm not anti-vaccine, an anti-vaxxer. I mean, if you want to get vaccinated, it's fine. I just feel like it's really being forced upon everything in a lot of ways. But it's up to you. If you want to get vaccinated, fine. I'd rather not.
Yeah. I will say that I've had a number of friends this week, 3, who have announced they have COVID and they've all been vaxxed and boosted. So, but the symptoms are not as great as what it might have,
Right.
what the doctors say. So we'll see what happens. AAA is announcing the national average of a gallon of gas is $4.67. The highest is California. That average is $6.25 a gallon.
I don't even look anymore. You have to have it at this point. So I'm just gonna give you the $20 I'm gonna give you because that's all I got. And get
so
what I
so
need
if that gets you like 4.5 gallons of gas, then
and I hit these corners where I need to hit, I'm fine. But like
so how
it's
does this affect your driving and not how you're able to drive, but how does it affect your
now you want to talk about my
trips and
ability too. Okay. 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 I mean, there's not a lot of stuff to do. Everybody's outside, but not all of my people aren't outside. So
Mhm.
I don't have a lot to do besides, bake up some cookies, drop a few cookies off. It did affect me. I went to my godson's graduation in Louisiana about
Mm.
a week or two ago. Ooh, honey, that
And
hurt.
you drove?
I drove, and that hurt. I did really well leaving from
How
Texas to Louisiana, but on the way back, I was like, "What happened?" Like it was just gone.
Wow.
It was a lot
So
of
are
it.
you a lead foot driver?
No, no, no,
Okay.
no. I
Okay.
don't
Because
speed.
I am.
I
I
normally
am.
do you? I
Oh
don't
yeah.
get you
Oh
as
yeah.
a
Oh
speeder.
yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
would
I'm a
think you'd be
speeder.
so cautious. No, I
Yeah.
normally stay within the speed limit. I rarely speed because I think I took a driver's class and it was like you don't gain any time when you speed. You're really not getting there any faster
I know,
than
but
like
tell
a
that to my
minute
foot.
or
I don't.
two. So you're still gonna be late. So
Uh,
what's
and
the
it's
biggie?
not even in being late because in radio you can't be late. You know what I mean? And so I get there in time.
I
But
will get there when I get there. You just be happy to see me when I do. That's it. That's all I got for you.
well, that accounts for some days. I saw you kind of, kind of coming in at your leisurely pace.
I was on time. I was scheduled to come after you got there.
Okay, scheduled to. Okay, all right, okay, all right. No
That's why
judgment.
they paid you the big bucks. You got there at 4. I got there at 7.
That's
How
funny.
it worked.
That's funny. Okay, all right. Um, so I do want to just bring to people's attention the NBA Finals begin tonight. The Golden State Warriors take on the Boston Celtics. Who you got? Do you care?
I don't care.
Oh, okay. I thought you were wearing green for the Celtics.
Well, no, I just thought I looked good in it.
Ah!
No.
That's funny.
If
That's
I
very
root for
funny.
anybody, I guess I root for the Warriors.
I am too. I'm a
Since they
Steph.
took the
I'm a
Mavs
Steph
out.
fan. Yeah.
Well, the Mavs took themselves out, but yeah.
Yeah,
that part.
exactly. All right, let us move now to entertainment. And this is just a quick look at a couple of things that came across my computer today. And so, are you a Housewives fan?
I haven't watched this season yet because everybody said it was boring.
Mm. I haven't watched in many a year, to be quite honest with you. I haven't watched just because it just seems so high school to me. I can't imagine grown women doing the things that they do on this show, and calling it reality. And it seems like something, some stuff we would see back in the day in high school. But anyway, one of the most famous reality TV stars, Nene Leakes, is being sued by her boyfriend's estranged wife over claims the couple had an affair while he was still married.
Heard that.
Mm-hmm. And I'm not
I
sure.
didn't see the pictures of him. I want to see him. I haven't
cute.
seen him
He's
yet.
a good-looking man.
Is he?
He's a good-looking older man. Yeah.
Okay.
Malamine Tame Seo filed a lawsuit against the Real Housewives star in North Carolina on May 23rd, alleging the tryst led to her separation from her husband, Nyansela Seo.
Oh my goodness.
I know. The court documents obtained by the public have stated that the two enjoyed a genuine, happy marital relationship and an active sexual relationship prior to his involvement with Nene Leakes. Nene was widowed last year, the death of her husband, Greg. The still current wife says that Leakes and her husband engaged in an ongoing romantic, uninhibited, and adulterous affair without knowledge of consent of his wife. And she further alleges that her husband, who was a clothing designer, repeatedly lied to her about his whereabouts. So check this out. She's suing her because saying that
alienation of
because
feelings.
they had an affair. Because alienation of affection is probably one way and probably one of the legal terms that they used in all of this. She's seeking $100,000 in damages from Nene Leakes, alienation of affections, and criminal conversation because talking about this relationship. Check this out. There are 6 states that still allow these type of lawsuits. And North Carolina, where this was filed, is one of them, along with Mississippi, South Dakota, New Mexico, Utah, and Hawaii. North Carolina has the highest number of alienation of affection lawsuits in the nation, and the majority of plaintiffs win their cases.
I thought Fantasia got sued for the same thing in that state.
Yeah. Yep.
But did she lose?
I don't remember. I don't remember what the outcome of that was.
But all she's asking for is $100,000.
I know. Because I would check.
Depending on how great he is, Nene, go ahead and pay that, honey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But what happened to Nene, who told some of her fellow housewives, close your legs to married men? That's all I'm asking, Nene. That's all I'm asking.
Well, maybe the only thing maybe she didn't know. Because a lot of people go out here and get involved in relationships and they'll lie to you and tell you they're not married or that they're not in a relationship.
And she never knew?
You go along to get along and then you find otherwise.
And she love him.
She thinks she loves him
No,
already.
I don't know. I
think she
I,
loves something. I don't
I
know
will
if she loves
say I
him.
thought it was very soon after Greg. I'm just
Yeah, I
saying,
think
but
she loves something. I don't think she loves him.
yeah, she loves some part of him.
Mhm. I love it too. I ain't finna take
Marcelina.
nobody's husband.
Okay. Okay. Close your legs to married men. That's all I'm
and
saying.
I do. And I do.
Amen. Amen. Oh, and Marcelina, before we leave, how can people follow you?
Um,
Because you're a great follow.
am I?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me see. I don't even know because I'm on Facebook. I think it's Marcelina Pretty Fat Olan. I'm
PHAT.
PHAT. I'm on Instagram. I haven't posted in quite a while. Maybe I post a picture today.
But you're
I
a
think
TikTok girl, aren't you?
I am, but I'm not a great TikToker.
No, I think you're
But
pretty good than
that's
most of
Pretty
us.
Fat Marcy 412. So I'll make a list of it for you.
Okay. All right. So we will have people follow you.
But follow me on TikTok. I want to go live.
Okay. We're going to close today with Yogi's Jewels, our daily inspiration. And this is something those of us who know Yolanda Starks White, we know we've heard this many a time. Have we not, Chica? Don't try to figure out the operation of another person's mind. Don't try to figure out the operation of another person's mind. Yeah, that's what we hear a lot. Okay. Marcy, thanks so much. It was fun. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. Go out there, be well, and please be safe. Aloha.